Okay, you need to know the number of teams that are going to be at the event. At Nationals, there are 60 teams, so we have to have enough sets of materials for 60 teams. I always bring 10 extra sets just in case that maybe one of them was put together with one of the pages missing. Also, all of the helpers, it's nice to have them all have a copy of that so that they can look at the questions and maybe familiarize themselves with it, as I say, if they already have some astronomy knowledge, if you're lucky to have helpers that can help you. So make sure that you have enough for everybody, because you do not want to waste time if all of a sudden a team has a missing image set. You want to get another one to them immediately, again, because of the time factor. In organizing the content for the astronomy event, if you go to the National Science Olympiad website, www.soinsync.org, there are rules, clarifications there. There are resources there to help teams. There are a lot of resources on there, both for students and for event supervisors, that you would probably find useful in organizing the content. You need to balance the content. The content has to conform to the content as described in the event description. If you have content in the event that is not in that, the students are going to be, shall we say, upset, because some of those students will become state winners and going on to national competition. Therefore, they expect to see the content as described in the event description, and you will be doing them a disservice if you do not give them that exact content that they have prepared for. The question set, the questions that you develop should be short answer. They should be simple and easy to grade. Again, the time factor for you is that, number one, depending upon the number of teams that are coming, are they all going to come at the same time? Are there, is there 15 or 20 teams and a total for the astronomy event, and they're all going to take place at the same time? Okay, are there so many teams and not enough space that they're going to do it in sections like they do at Nationals, where you have 20 teams in 3 different sessions? You need to know all of that because you have to score all of those events and have the scores to the scoring people in time for them to tally all the scores up to determine who is going to be the first, second, and third place winners in each individual event, as well as the overall team winners, first, second, and third place. So depending upon that, that's going to help you decide exactly how you're going to put together your question set and whether you're going to have a few short-term short answer questions in there also, but just even if you're going to have short answers where 2 or 3 or 4 words to answer it, make sure that they are as objective as possible, because you do not want to have an answer where, now, is this team right, or is it close enough or not? You cannot have any ambiguity before you begin to grade these events. So what the and this event is not intended to be rote memorization. It's not that kind of a short answer event. There are questions that ask questions about content and images. So there are image sets that the students use. So they are identifying deep sky objects, they're answering questions about them, they're using one or more images at the same time. Maybe they're putting an image together with a graph, and so they're more inquiry and process oriented, more than one step. Especially at the state level, you should have questions that use images and graphs content from 2 or 3 different areas that have to be synthesized to put together to give the correct response. This will help them for national competition also for those teams that are moving on. Even if you're running a regional event, those regional winners are going to move on to state competition, and then one of those or more is going to move on to national competition. So you should follow the event description as closely as you can. Let them have the same resources that the event description allows. If you do not allow them to use a laptop at regional or state competition, then you are doing them a disservice, because as the event description stands now, they are allowed to bring laptops, and the vast majority of them do. No internet access is allowed. However, that is an overall Science Olympiad rule, no internet access, because there are some events where that might be helpful for students, but as you look at the sample test from last year and the ones that we have for this year, you will see that accessing the internet will pretty much guarantee that a team will come in, if not last, then pretty close to it, because they need the image sets provided with these questions in order to be successful in this event. You should also, if you look at the numbering system for the national events and you use sort of the same system, then again, this will help the students be more comfortable when they get to nationals and they see sort of the same format or sort of the same numberings. Tiebreakers are really, really important. You need to, what we have done now, and trust me, I have done tiebreakers in every way that they should not be done. I hope that I have not come across another one that doesn't work well. We weight every single question in tie-breaking order. The last thing you want to do is, at the very end of the competition, you have all of these events in front of, these tests in front of you, they've all been scored, and you have a lot of ties, and you only have 1 hour to get your results to the scoring people, and you still have to do tiebreakers. And if you have decided to tie-break with 10 questions, and you get to the 10th one and you still have 3 teams tied, you don't want to be in a position where all of a sudden it's, oh goodness, what am I going to use to decide which one of these teams places higher or lower than the other one. Remember that the most important thing here is which team is the best overall, which one is the next best overall. And if you actually if you treat any of those answers differently, you run the risk of having a student that might have medaled in an event not medal, or an overall team that would have been on the medal podium getting a trophy might miss that opportunity. So it's really important that you know beforehand exactly how you're going to weight and tie break. If you do it in order, if you tie break with every single question in order of tie breaking order, then you can tie break at the end of each section. If you have like 3 sessions with so many teams per each session, you can actually do your tie breaking at the end of each session, because we always start scoring the first section while the second session is taking the event, which is why you need some knowledgeable proctors if at all possible. And if you do it that way, then at the end you're only tie breaking for the final session, and it takes no time at all to do. Tie breaking is really important. So, writing the questions, again, the majority of this event should be process-oriented, more than one step involved. Not at the regional level, certainly, but certainly at the state level. That needs to be taken into consideration. You need to focus at the state level on the deep sky objects, and you need to have questions that use both data for synthesis and also for interpretation.